You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Well, guys, we're going to be talking about San Antonio Spurs head coach Gregg Popovich here in this video. Now, Gregg Popovich, no doubt about it, his resume is pretty great when it comes to actually coaching and winning games. The man has won 5 NBA titles. I believe he's actually been to 6 NBA finals, mainly courtesy of Tim Duncan. Now, Tim Duncan is no longer in San Antonio, and it's kind of amazing, guys, how some of these coaches look when they don't have all-time great players. Pop, the last 4 years, not much to actually speak about when you don't have the great Tim Duncan or David Robinson. You know, it's kind of amazing, guys. So pretty much the last 4 years, Popovich is more known for trashing America than actually winning basketball games in the NBA, which now I call the Marxist NBA of China. Popovich has been going on a tear, just trashing his country, while his league, the NBA, takes a lot of blood money from China, who is actually having concentration camps. He never, ever criticizes China. Why? Because they're paying his paycheck. Now, Gregg Popovich is 74 years old. Now, there was some speculation at the end of our last NBA season that Pop would actually call it a career. However, the Spurs got the number 1 pick in the draft, and they drafted Victor Yamanwaba. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, guys. Honestly, I don't know much about the kid, but apparently he's like the biggest prospect to come to the NBA since LeBron James. And therefore, the San Antonio Spurs have now rewarded Pop with the largest contract in NBA history. Now, no doubt about it, this is based on his past resume, not what he's actually done lately, because what has he done lately? Not very much. You know, they're pretty much at the bottom of the Western Conference right now. The Spurs, I believe the Rockets actually finished above the Spurs. I believe they had the same record, but the Rockets may have had the tiebreaker. So Pop, not looking very great nowadays, but this man just got an $80 million contract for 5 years, the largest in NBA history. Now, Pop being 74, and so essentially this is going to run until he's 79 years old. I don't know if Pop is actually going to make it through his contract, not because he's going to pass away or anything like that, but I mean, that's pushing 80. Let's just be real about that. But look at this here on Breitbart. America bashing NBA coach Gregg Popovich, who also called Wokovich, signs richest coaching contract in NBA history. Now, Pop, along with Steve Kerr, they are the 2 most woke coaches in the NBA, you know, along with Doc Rivers. But those 2 guys actually tend to win more games than Doc Rivers here. Boy, Pop, man, he has been on a roll on his social justice crusade. But let's read some of this, guys. San Antonio Spurs coach Gregg Popovich, a man just as likely to go on a rant, blasting the Second Amendment because he hates it. And by the way, guys, Pop actually is a military veteran, and he trashes this country, man. So disrespectful. As a veteran myself, I find that to be offensive. I mean, if you listen to Pop now, man, you would think we have made no progress whatsoever in the last 50, 60 years here in this country. I mean, this guy probably thinks that the South is still Jim Crow, you know, considering he's in Texas. But anyway, he'll go on around blasting the Second Amendment or calling his country racist, as he is to talk about basketball, has just signed the most lucrative contract for a head coach in NBA history. Popovich, 74, has recently signed a deal worth more than $80 million. The contract eclipses the $78.5 million contract Monty Williams signed with the Detroit Pistons in June. Well, Pop as he is commonly known in NBA circles, has undoubtedly won his fair share of accolades on the court in his 27 seasons, leading the Spurs, including 5 NBA titles. He has made more than his fair share of headlines for criticizing the country that has lavished such wealth and fame on him. Now, in the NBA bubble in 2020, he did wear a BLM shirt. You know what? He was actually more patriotic to BLM than this country. Now, I will give him credit for this. Pop did not kneel for the national anthem. And he actually addressed that, said his personal reasons. So he did not kneel in the bubble. That's about the only thing I'm going to give him credit for. But however, he was just as vocal and crazy as the players that were actually kneeling. Now, over here on Outkick here, they actually list some of his woke moments right here. Look at this. 3 months ago, Pop used a pregame press conference to go on a 10-minute rant about gun control. Yes, this was at an NBA game, guys. Not talking about the game. Talking about gun control. Now, of course, here in Texas, we have constitutional carry, and leftists like Pop don't like that. He don't like that. He doesn't believe in the Second Amendment. He said that celebrating Columbus Day is akin to celebrating Hitler. You see what we're dealing with, folks? You see that? Consistently refers to the entire United States as a racist country. Kind of funny how that works, man, considering his league is like 80% black and the majority of people that actually watch the NBA are white, and they are fattening the pockets of these black players, creating generational wealth. And we know that the NBA PA is very strong. These guys make a whole bunch of money. I mean, LeBron, James Harden, those guys are getting like what, $45 million a year? Man, that's some kind of oppression, man. It is. Also here it says, despite being a 74-year-old white man, says that he hates 70-year-old white men. Now, guys, when white men come out and start trashing other white men, you know what? That's a red flag that these people are pretty woke here. But Breitbart does have some of the highlights of woke Gregg Popovich. Speaking of that 10-minute rant here, there is a video clip here of Pop. Now, I did a video on this, man, where he just goes off on gun control. Listen to this.
On the way, it goes through my mind that I hope they're going to be okay. And most of you in this room, when we were in school, we worried if Nancy would dance with us on Friday after the football game or something. That was our anxiety. But they're going to cloak all this stuff, you know, the myth of the Second Amendment, the freedom. You know, it's a myth, it's a joke. It's just a game they play.
You heard that. He called the Second Amendment a joke and a myth. Wow.
I mean, that's freedom. Is it freedom for kids to go to school and try to socialize and try to learn and be scared to death that they might die that day? But Ted Cruz will fix him because he's going to double the number of cops in the schools. That's what he wants to do. Well, that'll create a great environment. Is that freedom? Or is it freedom to have a congressman who can make a postcard with all his family holding rifles, including an AR-15 or whatever? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's one of Gregg Popovich's highlights right there. Man, there's another one here where he's talking about Columbus Day right here. I'm going to play a little bit of this here. Let's roll this.
You mentioned that, but it made me think a little bit beyond. I think the proclamation was obviously appropriate, important, needed, and all those sorts of things, but I'm a little confused about our city and why it's Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day. Columbus? I mean, he initiated a New World genocide. That's what he did. And beginning with him and what he set in motion and what followed meant the annihilation of every indigenous person in Hispaniola. which was Haiti and the Dominican Republic today. That's what he did. He took slaves.
And this thing is loading up slow. I believe this is a Twitter clip right here. But I'll just stop it there. You guys get the point right there. I don't even know why he's actually even bringing this up. Why is he even bringing this up at NBA games? This is what Coach Wolt does. When you're not winning games, man, I guess you got a virtue signal for all this social justice stuff. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to say this again about that last clip here. Leftists always bring up stuff like Pop just brought up there. They want to make it seem like the Indians here, the Native Americans here, were all living in kumbaya. Like they were never at war with each other. It was just peaceful harmony. That is ridiculous. They were fighting each other just like everybody else was around the world. The reason why we have the United States here, the reason why you have China, the reason why you have like France, the reason why you have these African countries, why? Because they were conquering each other. That's just a fact. That is a fact right there. But you hear stuff like Ben and Jerry's. Oh, stolen land. No land was stolen. Land was conquered. And the Indians here were conquering each other just like the rest of the world. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.